you'll know James Houston played outside linebacker at Florida in 2020. He also famously said that Oklahoma is not SEC, then got beat down in the Cotton Bowl by Oklahoma, who ended up becoming SEC, right? So James Houston goes into the portal and comes out of Jackson State and proceeds to absolutely wreck shop in the SWAC. James Houston didn't play all that much at Florida, and I think was criminally underused at Florida, okay? His last year there, he had 1 sack. At JSU, playing basically outside linebacker, this dude had 16 and a half sacks, 7 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, a ton of tackles for losses, and an interception. He's a tweener if you're evaluating him for the NFL draft, but I believe he's going to get drafted. If he does, he will be the first HBCU player drafted since 2020, and he would be the first Jackson State player drafted since 2008. He also has an opportunity to go in the first half of the draft, which would be another tremendous coup for FCS, HBCU, and particularly for Jackson State, right? I also think this is interesting because you're going to hear people talk about this in a way that is assigning development, okay? Did Daylen Baldwin get developed at Jackson State, or did he get developed at Michigan? I think there are a bunch of people that want to give Daylen Baldwin to Jackson State. I think there are a bunch of people that want to give him to Michigan. I tell you, it's not where you start, it's where you finish for me, right? Jalen Hurts, for example, got drafted as an Oklahoma quarterback, not as an Alabama quarterback, even though we have people that want to assign him to Alabama. I say that to say, I prefer to take my P's and Q's from where they finished. So James Houston has an opportunity to make history for Jackson State, and Jackson State has an opportunity to continue to build on that history. Remember, this is the first 11-win team in school history en route to a SWAC championship, okay? Their only loss outside of the Celebration Bowl to South Carolina State was to an FBS program in ULM. They lost that game 12-7. But their 2022 schedule comes out the day that I talked to Coach Sanders. Curiously, there is not an FBS school on the schedule. They also pulled out of the Southern Heritage Classic to the chagrin of many, myself included, because that's an annual with Tennessee State. It's out of conference. I'm sad to see it go. I understand Jackson State has its reasons, but now the de facto big game on their calendar is the Orange Blossom Classic, which competes with, or shouldn't say competes. They will play. Jackson State will play FAMU, Florida A&M. Florida A&M claimed co-champion Black College Football National Championship last year because they had beat South Carolina State, and South Carolina State beat Jackson State, even though Jackson State beat FAMU last year. Point is, it's also a SWAC game too now, so you got fireworks for that game. I expect that to be the big game on the HBCU calendar, but you also have a Jackson State that has put together a schedule in which they ought to be favored in every game they play, which means they have an opportunity to run the table and be undefeated, and then we'll be right back where we were last year, wondering whether or not Deion Sanders' last year at Jackson State will be this year at Jackson State, because it has been coming along that quickly, and he has been that sort of a change agent. It also puts yet another spotlight on the stars of this sport. It ain't the players so much as it's the coaches. We think about Nick Saban, we think about Dabo Swinney, we think about Deion Sanders. We care about Jackson State because Deion Sanders is there, and because he's been recruiting his tail off, and now he's going to develop more players to follow James Houston, notably his sons, Shiloh Sanders, safety, and Shedeur Sanders, who, along with being the only football player in college sponsored by Gatorade, was the Jerry Rice Award winner, FCS Freshman of the Year. He's also going to have Travis Hunter, Kelvin Coleman. You understand what I'm saying here, right? The question will quickly become, is Jackson State, if they go undefeated, the best team in college football at the FCS level? Some folks would say no. Some folks would say yes. I think that we're even imagining that is such a big deal and cannot be overstated. Thanks for watching this video. And remember, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos on the #1 ranked show YouTube channel.